I was folding towels in the laundry room when Jessica walked in holding a notebook. She didn't knock. She never did anymore. "We need to talk about the nursery," she said, like we'd already agreed on something. I looked up from the basket. Her hand was on her stomach, rubbing circles like she was already the boss. "The sunroom would be perfect," she continued. "Big windows, lots of light. The baby needs that." I put down the towel slowly. "The sunroom. That's where I do my puzzles every morning." She smiled, but it wasn't warm. "You can do puzzles anywhere, Mom. Babies need special rooms." Before I could say another word, my son Tyler came in with 2 coffee cups. He handed one to Jessica and leaned against the washing machine. "We measured it yesterday," he said. "It's the biggest room in the house." "Makes sense." I stared at him. This was the same boy I taught to ride a bike. The same one who cried when his goldfish died. "You've got that whole upstairs to yourself," Jessica added, flipping through her notebook. "One person doesn't need 3 bedrooms. We could actually use this space." She said it like I was wasting something, like I was being selfish. I folded the last towel and placed it in the basket. My hands were steady. "And where do you think I should go?" Tyler scratched his neck. "There's a place on Maple Street. Small, but it's got a nice porch. We drove by it last week." Last week. They'd been planning this. I didn't argue. I just nodded and walked outside to the garden. My tomatoes were just starting to turn red. They thought I'd just pack up and leave. They had no idea what was coming. 15 years ago, I stood in this very garden with dirt under my nails and tears on my face. My husband, Paul, had just died. Heart attack. No warning. One day he was planting roses, the next day he was gone. The house was a mess back then. The roof leaked. The pipes made terrible sounds. The porch had a big hole you could fall through. But Paul loved this place. "It's got good bones," he used to say, tapping the walls like they could hear him. We were going to fix it together. Room by room. Year by year. But then he left and I was alone. Tyler had already moved out with Jessica. They were busy with their own lives. I didn't ask them to come back and help. I didn't want to bother anyone. So I learned how to fix things myself. I watched videos on my phone. I read books from the library. I asked questions at the hardware store until the workers knew me by name. I replaced the pipes. Patched the roof. I sanded the floors until my arms ached. Every nail I hammered, every board I painted, I talked to Paul. "Look at this," I'd say. "I'm doing it. Just like we planned." Took me 3 years to fix the whole house. 3 years of blisters and sweat and crying in the garage when I messed something up. But I did it. I made this house beautiful again. The sunroom where Jessica wanted to put her baby. I built those shelves. Painted those walls. I chose that wallpaper with the tiny yellow flowers. That room wasn't just a room. It was proof that I didn't give up. And now they wanted to take it like it was nothing. The next morning I woke up and something felt wrong. I went to the kitchen to make my tea. My favorite mug, the blue one with a chip on the handle, was gone. In its place was a shiny new cup with a picture of a stork on it. I opened the cabinet. Half my mugs were missing. I didn't say anything. I just made my tea in a glass and sat down. That afternoon I came home from the grocery store and froze in the doorway. My couch, the one Paul and I bought at a yard sale and reupholstered together, was pushed into the corner. The coffee table was gone completely. Jessica was standing in the middle of the room holding paint samples. "I'm thinking soft pink," she said, holding up a card. "Or maybe mint green. What do you think?" I looked around. My photo wall, the one with pictures of Tyler growing up, was already half empty. The frames were stacked on the floor. "We need space for the baby swing," Jessica explained. "And the play mat." These old pictures were making the room feel crowded. Old pictures. Pictures of my son. Of my husband. Of my life. Tyler walked in carrying a box. He didn't look at me. "Where's my coffee table?" "Yes. Storage unit," he said quickly. "We rented one. Don't worry, it's safe." I stood there while they moved my furniture like I wasn't even in the room. Like my things didn't matter. Like I didn't matter. That night I started writing things down. What they said. What they moved. I filled 3 pages before I finally fell asleep. The next week, I was reading in my bedroom when I heard them talking in the hallway. Their voices were low, but my hearing is still sharp. Once we're on the deed, she can't kick us out, Jessica whispered. It'll be our house too. Tyler's voice was quieter. She's old. She'll agree eventually. We just have to be patient. I sat very still. My book was open, but I wasn't reading anymore. I was listening. The baby needs stability, Jessica continued. She'll understand that. And if she doesn't, we'll figure it out legally. I waited until their footsteps went downstairs. Then I got up and walked to the closet. On the top shelf, inside a hatbox, was the deed to my house. I pulled it out and read it carefully. Name. Only my name. No one else's. I made 3 copies at the library the next day. Put one in my safe. One in my car. One in an envelope addressed to my sister. Then I called a lawyer. Not a big fancy one. A small office downtown run by a kind woman named Mrs. Chen. I need to protect my house, I told her. She listened to everything. She didn't interrupt. She didn't judge. When I finished, she nodded. We can do that, she said. Let me draw up some papers. I left her office feeling lighter. They thought I was just a tired old woman. They thought I didn't notice. But I noticed everything. And now I was ready. Jessica made pancakes the next Sunday. She hummed while she cooked, flipping them high in the air like she was on a cooking show. The smell filled the whole house, sweet and thick. She put a plate in front of me with extra syrup, just how I like it. Then she sat down and folded her hands. We found a place for you, she said brightly. It's a cute little apartment. 1 bedroom. Right near the bus stop. Put down my fork. Tyler was leaning against the counter. He wouldn't look at me. It's already paid for, he added. First month's rent. Security deposit. Everything. Paid for. Like I was a problem they'd solved. Like I was a piece of furniture they could move. Did you ask me if I wanted to move? Said. Jessica's smile got tighter. It's for the baby. He needs a safe, calm space. You understand, right? She touched her belly again. She did that a lot. Like it was a shield. This house is too much for you anyway, Tyler said. All these stairs. All these rooms. You've said it yourself. I had said that. Once. After I cleaned the gutters and my back hurt for a week. But I didn't mean I wanted to leave. I folded my napkin and stood up. I walked to my room and came back with a yellow envelope. I placed it on the table between the syrup and the butter. Read this, I said. Jessica opened it first. Her face changed. Yes. Tyler looked over her shoulder. Inside was a copy of the deed. Name. Then a paper from Mrs. Chen. Was a notice. They had 30 days to leave. Jessica's hand started shaking. You're kicking us out. I poured myself more tea. I'm protecting what's mine. They didn't talk to me the rest of that day. Their bedroom door stayed closed. I could hear muffled voices, but I didn't try to listen. I didn't need to. That night I made myself dinner. Chicken and rice. I ate slowly, tasting every bite. The house felt different. Heavier. But also lighter. Like something had shifted. The next morning, Jessica left a note on the counter. This isn't fair. We have nowhere to go. I folded it and put it in my drawer with the others. By the end of the week, I started seeing the little changes again. But this time they weren't taking over. They were pulling back. The stork mug disappeared. My blue mug was back. The couch was still in the corner, but the coffee table returned. No one said anything about it. We moved around each other like ghosts. One afternoon, Tyler knocked on my door. Can we talk? He asked. I let him in but didn't sit down. She told me it was mine, he said quietly. The baby. She promised. I didn't answer. I didn't know, he continued. I swear I didn't know she was lying. I looked at him. Really looked at him. He was my son. But he was also a grown man who made choices. You didn't ask questions, I said. You just believed her. He nodded slowly. I'm sorry. I didn't say it was okay. Because it wasn't. But I didn't say anything mean either. I just opened the door. He left quietly. A few days later, Tyler showed me something on his phone. It was a post from a website I'd never heard of. The username was hidden, but the story wasn't. My girlfriend lied about being pregnant to get into my mom's house. She said the baby was mine. I found out later it wasn't. DNA test confirmed it. 0% match. The baby belongs to her ex-boyfriend. I read it twice. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. I just felt tired. Is this true? Yes. Tyler nodded. I got the test done last week. I didn't want to believe it, but yeah, Jessica had lied. About everything. The baby wasn't his. The whole plan, the whole push to take over my house, was built on a lie. I handed him back his phone. What are you going to do? Yes. He shrugged. I don't know yet. That night I heard them fighting. Loud. Doors slamming. Something crashed. I stayed in my room with the door locked. When morning came, the house was silent. Jessica left on a Tuesday. No big speech. No tears. Just 2 suitcases and a black bag. Car pulled up outside. Chini. Expensive. Man got out. Sunglasses. Leather jacket. He didn't come to the door. He just waited by the car. Jessica walked past me without looking. She rolled her suitcases down the driveway, loaded them in the trunk, and got in the passenger seat. The car drove away. I watched from the window. Tyler stood on the porch. He watched too. After a long time he came back inside. He didn't say anything. He just went upstairs. An hour later he came down with one bag. I'm going to stay with a friend for a while, he said. He nodded. Okay. He stopped at the door. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't answer. He left. The house was quiet again. Really quiet. I walked through every room. Slowly. Touching the walls. The furniture. The things I'd built and fixed and chosen. This was my house. It always had been. I pulled my favorite chair back to the window. The spot where the morning sun comes in. I made a cup of tea and sat down. The quiet didn't feel empty anymore. Felt like peace. A week later, I got a call from a place called Safe Harbor Women's Shelter. A woman named Linda was on the phone. We heard you might have a room available, she said. For women who need a safe place to stay. Just for a little while. I looked at the guest room. The one Jessica wanted for the nursery. It was empty now. Clean. Waiting. Yes, I said. I have a room. Linda explained how it worked. Women could stay for up to 2 months. No rent. No questions. Just a safe place to rest and figure out their next step. I'd like to help, I said. 2 weeks later, a woman named Ruth arrived. She was younger than me. Maybe 40. She carried one small bag and wore a coat that was too thin for the weather. Her eyes looked tired. Like she'd been carrying something heavy for a long time. I opened the door and smiled. Welcome, I said. She looked around. This is really okay. It's really okay, I said. I showed her the room. The bed with clean sheets. The desk by the window. The lamp that gives soft light. She set her bag down gently. Thank you, she whispered. I left her alone. Some people need space before they need words. Ruth stayed for 6 weeks. She didn't talk much at first. But slowly, she started joining me for tea in the mornings. She told me about her life. About the man she left. About the fear. About the hope. When she finally moved out, she hugged me at the door. You saved me, she said. I shook my head. You saved yourself. I just gave you a place to do it. After Ruth there was Monica. Then Diane. And Kate. Each one different. Each one strong in her own way. I didn't ask them to tell me their stories. But most of them did. And I listened. The house, which had almost been stolen from me, became something new. Not just mine. But a place where other women could feel safe. Where they could breathe. Where they could start again. I painted the guest room a soft yellow. I added a bookshelf with books I thought they might like. I kept the closet stocked with extra blankets. I made sure there were always fresh flowers on the dresser. Small things, but things that said, "You matter. You're welcome here. You're safe." Tyler came back one Sunday afternoon. He knocked this time. I let him in. We sat at the kitchen table. The same table where Jessica had told me to leave. "I'm sorry," he said again. "I should have listened to you. I should have seen what was happening." I poured him a glass of water. "You made a mistake," I said. "A big one." He nodded. "I know. But you're still my son," I added. His eyes got shiny. Can I come by sometimes? Just to visit?" Thought about it. Not because I didn't know the answer, but because I wanted him to understand that trust takes time. "Yes," I said finally. "You can visit." He smiled. Small but real. We didn't hug. Not yet. But it was a start. Over the next few months, he came by every couple of weeks. Sometimes we had tea. Sometimes we just sat on the porch. He met Ruth. He met Monica. He saw what I was doing with the house. "This is really cool, Mom," he said one day. Smiled. "It feels right." One afternoon, I was watering the tomatoes when I heard a car pull up. I looked up and froze. It was Jessica. She got out slowly. Her stomach was bigger now. Very big. She walked up the driveway and stopped a few feet away from me. "Hi," she said quietly. I didn't say anything. I wanted to apologize," she continued. "For everything. For lying. For trying to take your house. She stopped. Her voice cracked. I put down the watering can. "Why are you here, Jessica?" She looked at the ground. "Because I messed up. I messed up everything. And I wanted you to know that I'm sorry." I studied her face. She looked different. Tired. Maybe honest. "Apology heard," I said. She nodded. "That's all I wanted." She turned to leave, then stopped. "The baby's coming next month. It's a boy." "Congratulations," I said. And I meant it. She got back in her car and drove away. I went back to my tomatoes. I didn't feel angry anymore. I didn't feel anything except done. That chapter was over. A year passed. The guest room saw 8 different women. Each one brought something different. Laughter, tears, strength, stories. I started keeping a journal. Not of their secrets, but of little moments. The day Monica baked cookies and burned them, but we ate them anyway. The morning Kay saw a hummingbird in the garden and cried because her grandmother loved hummingbirds. The afternoon Diane taught me how to braid hair. These women, who had lost so much, gave me something I didn't know I needed. Purpose, community, connection. And the house, which I'd fought so hard to keep, became more than just walls and a roof. It became a place where people could heal. One evening I sat in my chair by the window. The sun was setting, orange and pink and gold. I held my tea and looked around. The photos were back on the walls. My furniture was where it belonged. But there were new things too. A painting Monica had made for me. Plant Diane had given me. A bookmark Kay had left behind with a note that said, "Thank you for everything." Smiled. This was my house. But it was also bigger than me now. And that felt exactly right. Tyler started coming by more often. Sometimes he brought groceries. Sometimes he just helped in the garden. We didn't talk about Jessica much. But one day he brought it up. "I saw her last week," he said. "The baby was born. Boy. She named him Oliver." "How is she?" I asked. He shrugged. "Okay, I think. She's with the baby's father now. They're trying to make it work." He nodded. "I hope it does." He looked at me surprised. "Really? Really?" I said. "I don't wish bad things for her. I just wish she'd been honest from the start." Tyler smiled a little. "You're a better person than me." I laughed. "I've just had more practice." We worked in the garden together. Pulling weeds. Planting new seeds. Felt good. Like we were building something again. A few weeks later, Linda from the shelter called. We have someone who really needs help, she said. Her name is Gloria. She's 62. She left a bad situation. She's scared. Send her over, I said. Gloria arrived the next day. She had white hair and kind eyes. She cried when she saw the room. I didn't think anyone would help me, she said. Hugged her. You're home now. Gloria stayed for 2 months. She was quiet at first. But slowly she started to open up. She loved to cook. Every night she made dinner for both of us. Pasta. Roasted vegetables. We ate together at the table. We talked about our lives. Our husbands. Regrets. Hopes. She told me about the 40 years she spent in a bad marriage. About how she finally found the courage to leave. I thought it was too late for me, she said one night. I thought I was too old to start over. I reached across the table and held her hand. It's never too late, I said. When Gloria finally moved into her own apartment, she hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. You gave me my life back, she said. I shook my head. You gave it to yourself. After she left, I stood in the guest room. Changed the sheets. I fluffed the pillows. I watered the plant on the windowsill. And I smiled. Because this room, this house, this life I'd fought so hard to protect, wasn't just mine anymore. It was a gift I could give. Over and over again. I walked back to my chair by the window. The sun was shining. The garden was blooming. My tea was hot. And I was home. Not just in a building. But in a life I'd built. Life I'd saved. Life I'd shared. And that, I thought, is exactly what Paul would have wanted.